Hello everyone, my name is Dean, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and tactical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency market at large. Today is February 25th, 2025. And I'm going to say something that may surprise many of you, but not all of you, but some of you for sure. This recent price action in Bitcoin's chart is extremely bullish for altcoins. Okay, I'll repeat. The recent price action in Bitcoin's chart, with it going all the way down to like 86,000, is extremely bullish for altcoins, and I'm going to show you why. I'm also going to show you why our larger trade thesis hasn't changed, although the way in which we're going to our target of 108 definitely has. So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to reiterate the upside price targets for altcoins and why, yeah, this may be a very, very likely to be a very bullish week for altcoins. All right, so we're going to talk about all of that and more. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it with Bitcoin on the 4-hourly time frame. So last we spoke, we were talking about going up from here, from this falling wedge, this blue channeled falling wedge, and thinking, okay, that was it. We were in some sort of ABC flat correction, and then we'd come up here and hit our 108K target. But what happened, instead of moving up from here, all right, so we broke the channel, we came back, retested the midline, and then we didn't have anything left. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm going to revisit that statement. So right here, after we performed the requisite, actions to leave a channel, breaking the channel, retesting the midline, we didn't have anything left to continue to our target and instead broke down. Okay, keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But okay, upon breaking down, where do we go? Well, next logical support. If we look, the next logical support is here, right here, right where we're at, right? This is the base or the support level of this 100-day support, 100-day channel that Bitcoin's been in for 100 days. So we're grabbing liquidity from basically the only place we can grab it. See, look, Bitcoin up until now in the 100 days has never had to come down here to grab liquidity to retest the top of the channel. If in order for us to go to the top of the channel, we need to grab liquidity from here, that tells you something. For me as an analyst, when I'm looking at charts and I see a channel and then I see a dive down, liquidity grab, that tells me something. No, it's not, oh, it's manipulated. No, that just tells me about the strength of the asset at that point in time and what it needs just to effectuate a certain move. Okay, so now that we know we've dumped instead of pumped from this blue channel, we know that, yes, we're in a flat correction because this is still an A wave. Okay, this is still an initial breakup structure. And this now, instead of being an A, B, C, B wave, right? So this is your A wave, let's label. And instead of your B wave looking like this, your B wave, so that's your A wave. And instead of your B wave looking like this, right, which we thought it would, your B wave now looks, like this. So we're likely 2/3 of the way into this B wave. We're still in an ABC flat correction. What you see here is very much likely related to this initial breakup structure, meaning we need 3 waves to finish whatever's happening here. This very long, drawn out, complex flat correction up and down, squigglies. That is characteristic of a B wave. So you know there's B wave going on in there. It's just a question of now sussing out exactly what that B wave looks like. Okay, and remember, the last leg of any corrective pattern is impulsive. Okay, and so you'll say, oh yeah, that is going to be, so this was right here, A, B, C. Remember, we have 3 waves and it's a fractal. So within this 3-wave move, there are 3 waves. So this A wave has 1, 2, 3 parts to it. Similarly, this B wave also has 1, 2, 3 parts to it. The last bit is always impulsive. That is what we're looking for to go to 108. That's still our target. Why is it still our target? Well, because we still have our parabolic resistance of 100 days here. We still have our resistance of what? 50 days here. We still have multiple resistances here. And then we have all these resistances for this channel, right? So it's unlikely, given an asset that needs so much of a liquidity grab just to finish out a move up to the top regions of this 100-day channel, it has to come and get liquidity here. It tells me 2 things. It tells me, 1, it's weak. 1, it's extremely weak. And if it wasn't, it wouldn't need to go all the way down there just to grab liquidity. 2, it's on its last legs, because this is the first time it's ever done that. When I say it's on its last legs, it's on its last legs in the process of this distribution channel. Because you see, you're only getting that Wyckoff spring towards the end of the distribution, when the asset no longer has the liquidity to complete the moves. So it needs to spring down, grab liquidity, and then move the opposite direction. So that is what I'm seeing in Bitcoin. I'm still targeting 108K. And that 108K is not that far from here. Right here, we're at like 87, okay? 108K is just 24%. In that time that Bitcoin matriculates from where it's at right now, the support of the 100-day channel, to our target of 108K, do expect altcoins to do what we've been talking about on this channel. The first major move of Altseason 2025. And I want to tell you why I think that this bearish move in Bitcoin that's happened over the past 24 hours bodes extremely well for Altseason 25. And I'm going to show you it in a multitude of ways. First, look at this. February 2nd, we have a capitulation, right? Capitulative move. We come down to the bottom of this channel. And then we consolidate. We think, oh, this consolidation is sufficient to move up, right? Because when you look at moves up, impulsive moves up, they're always the result of consolidations. The longer the base, the higher in space. You don't just go ad nauseum. You don't just go off of nothing. For a sustained move, it is the result, or it's the product of a consolidation, buyers accumulating, the asset at a certain level. That wasn't enough. So we didn't get a pump from that. But look what this looked like. So look at this from February 2nd to present day. We go up, we consolidate, and we dump. After the capitulation of February 2nd, you had even a lower low. You had liquidity here. That's a liquidity grab. This is an accumulation, or it should have been a reaccumulation. You should have been able to go there if you had sufficient strength. But you had to come even lower. Okay? That's what Bitcoin did from February 2nd to present day. That's about, 21 days. So 3 weeks. Now, look at what altcoins did in the same amount of time. We're going to look at altcoins in the aggregate, and we're going to look at Ethereum specifically. So February 2nd, once again, same. Were we on the daily or 4 hourly? I think we're on the... I just want to compare apples to apples. 4 hourly. So let's go in the 4 hourly and look at this TOTAL3 chart. Again, TOTAL3 is the aggregate chart of all altcoins minus Bitcoin, minus Ethereum. Bitcoin's not an altcoin, but just so you know, TOTAL3 means all the assets in the cryptocurrency space minus Bitcoin, minus Ethereum. So it's just a representation of, you know, what the altcoins are doing in aggregate. So here you have your February 2nd capitulation. You have your subsequent accumulation or reaccumulation, whatever you call it, some sort of consolidation. And you went down, but you didn't make a lower low in the aggregate. You went down and grabbed more liquidity last night. But look, this, and again, look what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin made a significantly lower low for a liquidity grab, while altcoins in the aggregate, and I'm saying in the aggregate, that means all the shitcoins, your favorite shitcoins, they didn't need to do all of that. What does that tell you? That is a show of strength. You can look at it this way, or more conveniently, you can just look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. So if you don't know what this is, Bitcoin dominance shows exactly what we just saw. So Bitcoin strength vis-a-vis altcoins, or altcoin strength vis-a-vis Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance going up, that means Bitcoin's gaining against Bitcoin altcoins in market cap. That's typically what happens when Bitcoin dumps, altcoins dump even harder. Bitcoin dominance coming down, rare sighting. This is the rare season when these low market cap assets best Bitcoin. And even if Bitcoin's going down, they go down less, or they're going up. This is what we call Altseason. So that move yesterday was proof positive that, yes, this is the start of Altseason. Look, you came down out of this triangle, we called it, came down and you retested it. Went a little higher than, we thought, but you still maintained this resistance right here. So you lost support, you came back up, it's resistance now. And then you started going down. So when Bitcoin couldn't find support at 90, went to 89, went to 88, went to 87, I was like, oh, I was up. I was waiting for my altcoin positions to go to nothing. But they just held steady. I was like, what's going on? I flip on this chart and I can see exactly why. They are completely oversold. Completely oversold. That's what happens at bottoms. There are no more sellers. There are no more sellers. Nobody's left to sell these altcoins. So even if Bitcoin goes down, it doesn't matter because there's nothing left to sell. Selling has been exhausted, and that's when buyers step in, mark up the price, right? Supply dwindles, buyers step in, the price marks up. That's what you're seeing right now in the altcoin space. This is special. This is exactly what we intended, or we hoped would happen, and we would see finally a move down in Bitcoin dominance to our first target, which is going to be around 55%, and then our second target around 48%, and even to 46%. So something like this, I feel, is likely, okay? And again, if you zoom out, you can see, that's fine. You're dealing with this rising wedge, and this rising wedge is likely to break down impulsively. And so I'm looking for that to happen. And that is already happening, and it's already started. As you can see on the 4-hourly time frame, you're breaking down. You're breaking down in Bitcoin dominance. That means if you go to your watch list, and let's go to our watch list for just a second here, you see Bitcoin struggling to find support and to base at 87 now it is at the time of recording. Meanwhile, and it's still well in the red at around 5% negative for the day, you have some altcoins that are in the green. You do not see that in a regular bear market or a neutral market. You only see that in Altseason. If Bitcoin goes down 5%, altcoins typically go down 25% or 20% or something like that. You don't see the opposite. The only time you see the opposite is in that rare season that we call Altseason, when selling's exhausted. Altcoins have gone down, gone down, gone down. All right, let's go actually into why some of you are so pessimistic in some of the messages you send me. And by the way, I don't mind you disagree with me. As long as you keep it respectful, I welcome it. I even love the comment, you know. I'm, as you know, I'm never always right, or sometimes I'm wrong, better said. So, you know, we're all trying to figure this out. So, you know, I love to hear, you know, your ideas as well. So go ahead and share them. As long as you're respectful, I don't really care. So here is why I believe a lot of people are so pessimistic about this move that I believe is going to happen, or is happening right now. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's happening. I'll show you in a second one of my watch list altcoins that has already started moving. All right, so let's go on the weekly time frame to really understand this. You're in an altcoin, right? You're in altcoins, period. You're essentially dealing with years of down and sideways. Maybe if you're lucky, you've experienced a little bit of an uptick, but then since November of last year, what's that? It's been already 3 months. You've been down and sideways. Okay, and then add 3 weeks to what we just did, 21 days in that channel. So down and sideways, a best case scenario, if you're in one of those altcoins that moved, you've been down and sideways for about 4 months now. Psychologically speaking, from a non-analytical vantage, if you're not looking at these charts, you're just thinking, you're in despair. You're thinking, it's not going up. I never look at the chart and it's never not red. It's always red. It's always some level of red. It's never green. It's never going up. That's what you're thinking. And so you're going to be very pessimistic. And that's why if you look at the psychology of Wall Street psychology cheat sheet, that first move is called the disbelief rally, because nobody believes it's coming. But it's quite clear here what's happening, right? Let's go back on the daily. Look at the altcoins. Look at what they're doing, right? And again, this is a relatively straightforward analysis. You have your inverse head and shoulders bullish reversal pattern broken out and retested, duly retested, i.e. confirming this inverse head and shoulders as being tried and true. After that confirmation, in which you had a big wick, by the way, you have another grab of liquidity that doesn't even make a lower low. That is your move. You're basically going to now execute the breakout of this massive inverse head and shoulders that, by the way, took you all of 1,000 days to form. So if you're in altcoins, you've spent years. So 1,000 days isn't 4 years. That's closer to three years, right? Yeah, that's closer to 3 years, 3.5 years if you add all this other stuff. And a lot of altcoins don't even look like this. This is just kind of skewed because the higher market cap altcoins have already started their first leg, the Cardanos, the XRPs, the XLMs of the world, right? So you have to understand, you've spent 4 years in this, and now you don't even remember what it looks like to have a green portfolio, much less remember what bullish, like pure bullish price action looks like. Now let's talk about, so we get that. Let's say I'm correct and this indeed is a duly proper retest of this inverse head and shoulders, 1,000-day inverse head and shoulders, and then again another retest, or another retest of this neckline, this 1,000-day neckline, and then you finally get a breakout. What's your first move? Well, your first move, if you're itching to take profit, your first move is going to be to around 1.39 trillion, 1.37 to 1.39 trillion, the top of this green channel that I have here, okay? And this channel is a 400, almost 500 day channel. Okay, so two things happen here. You're not only going to break out and target the top of the channel, which is very likely, because remember, channel trading 101, bottom of the channel is support, midline is resistance when you're below it, support when you're above it, and the top is resistance. You're always needing to retest the midline as support before you leave the boundaries of the channel. So if you go from the bottom here all the way to the top, you're likely to find resistance here because you got to come back down and retest that midline. And so that's the second thing is, for the past 3 weeks, you've been chopping up. Let's zoom in for a second. And this is how you can sort of apply it on your individual charts. If you're looking for a first take profit and you're greedy, you're itching to take profit, which a lot of us are, right? So remember, that's your February 2nd capitulation. Subsequent to that, you put in this ABC flat correction, right? ABC. It looks like that. It looks a little different on all in different altcoins. We'll look at a few in a second. That took 3 weeks, and you clearly had a resistance there. So what's going to happen is once you break up and out of this, you're going to have to come back and retest previous resistance as new support. When you go up, let's go back on the daily. When you go up in altcoins to the $1.37 trillion level, or the top of this 500-day wet or 500-day channel, you're not only going to come back to retest the midline as support before you leave the channel and put in your 2 to 300% in the aggregate for this total 3 chart, but you're also going to be retesting the top of the past 3 weeks of top. These altcoins have been in that range for 3 weeks. The top of that range has to be retested as support. That's like a double duty thing. So this is a very high probability target for altcoins right there. But because Bitcoin dominance is going down, don't expect every altcoin to just move all at once. Or when Bitcoin hits its target, then it's going to happen. No, they're going to go as they go. So REN was up 10% earlier this morning. It's come down considerably because it's putting in some sort of consolidation. But you see, they're going to move at their own rate. They're going to move at their own rate, and some may pop off, hit that first target, come back. REN's not a good example for this. Let me show you another one. Let's look at ETH. Yeah, this is perfect. It's like a tabletop. Okay, and again, look at ETH. What did it do? It came up, put in that ABC correction, just like we talked about last time, right? I think last video was called likely moves, intraday moves before the Altseason 2025 or something like that. I forget. In any case, I talked about how ETH was more likely than not to come down here, grab liquidity before going up, and we did indeed get that. So let's say you were in Ethereum and you wanted to set an initial take profit because you're itching to take profit, right? Well, your initial take profit would be from the bottom here to any level that's likely going to present as a first obvious resistance, which is this previous swing high, and it's going to give you a retracement that's likely to retest that previous 3-week resistance as new support. So my first target for ETH is around 4,000. And 4,000 we know is clearly a resistance level for ETH because that's a resistance level that it's hit 50 million times in the past few months. So that's an easy one, but that's the calculus for getting that first TP. And I'm talking about, like, if you're trying to scalp, because this is, 60% is big, right? It's not nothing to scoff at, but like, we're likely to do much more in this run for altcoins. So if you're paying attention and you're really itching to take profit and you want a first TP, that's a good first TP. And you can just rinse and repeat for different altcoins. Let's look at one more. Let's look at DYDX. So same idea here. You would look at a move that goes from the bottom here, and again, Bitcoin was trying to find support, and it had to make a considerably lower low. What did these altcoins do? Well, these altcoins found support, found liquidity much higher than the February 2nd capitulative low. That tells you a lot. Next, moving up from here, your first likely target is going to be one which represents both a natural, normal, obvious resistance level, which is going to be the midline of this channel, whatever I've drawn out here. And see, there's a big wick here, so this is likely, right? This is resistance here, this is support here. This midline of this channel that I drew out is likely going to be resistance because we're below it. So if I pull my fib from the bottom here to the top, right? Whoa, you see that? That move both stops at next logical resistance, and the retracement goes back to the phi ratio, which also serves as retesting that previous resistance's new support. So that first move in DYDX, in ETH it was like 60%. That first move in DYDX is about 127%. These are the first moves that I'm seeing out the gate for altcoins. Just imagine if that's your first move, that's your initial move. Imagine the kind of week we're likely to have should that continue. So that's what I'm talking about. This is why I'm excited. This is why I think that that most recent move in Bitcoin to the downside really underlined how we're transitioning into Altseason 2025. It's rare, and seeing the rare case where Bitcoin dumps, but altcoins hold steady, and some even gain against a Bitcoin. And why, even if we've been down for a long time, the charts are screaming, now is the time, today is the day. Those moves are happening, not going to happen, happening, and we're likely to see a bullish week. Guys, that's all I've got. Hope this was helpful. Hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider tipping me by Venmo, Cash App, sending me Litecoin, all at the pinned comment below, and consider joining my crypto portfolio consultation and mentorship service, mentorship and consultation service. I still haven't decided which kind of title I like better, but same thing because it's recursive, right? And it's basically 1 to 2 hours with me once a month. We go over up to 5 assets, and I help you pick and choose which assets will actually yield bull market gains. Not everything's going to yield bull market gains because not everything had a bear market. You want good, fundamentally sound stuff that has undergone a bear market so that you may enjoy the bounties of a bull market. I help you choose good assets like that and perform good risk management to make money in the coming bull market. So yeah, all at the pinned comment below. Guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. While the world spins without me, arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon his glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on. Yeah.
Looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit or better than letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all.